What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another monthly album review video. This is for May 2025, and everyone decided to release an album this month. A lot of artists I like released an album, so without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm gonna start it off with Young Lean's album, Jonathan. This album, it felt super personal to him. It was kind of a life-reflecting album, I felt. And I've never been a big fan of Young Lean, but I decided to check it out. Something drew me to it, and I ended up liking it a lot. My first listen, I didn't like it because I've always kind of thought that Young Lean, he can't really sing too well. I've never been a fan of his voice, so my initial thought on this album was if you replaced his voice with someone else's, different artists, I'd like it a lot more. Unfortunately, but it was a good album. I think the album was very fun. And what I mean by that, I mean it's mostly a melancholy album, but there were some tracks that made it more fun. For example, you get some songs like "Forever Young" and "I'm Your Dirt, I'm Your Love" that are more upbeat and fun, so that makes the album more digestible and easier to listen to. But a song I wanted to highlight was the intro song, because it felt like a movie soundtrack. And I love albums that have an intro that sound like this because it just sets the tone for the whole album and it does it perfectly. And I respect him for that. I respect his producers and everyone who worked on the album for that. I feel like you almost have to be in a certain kind of mood to listen to this album to understand it and to like it. It's like I said, it's more of a melancholy album. So if you're sad or feeling down, even if you're feeling just kind of reserved, like not much, not feeling much, this album would be a good pick. It is slower most of the time, but songs like Might Not Be and Horses, they really grew on me. I hated it the first listen, hated those songs, but they definitely grew on me. And if you don't mind his voice, then you'll probably like them. But your initial listen, just don't grade it too harshly because you might not like it, especially if you don't know Young Lean. Like I said before, he's not much of a singer, in my opinion, so you have to kind of take it lightly. I also wanted to point out that album covers mean so much for an album. Like this album cover just kind of captured it, like the feel of the album fully, and I think it does it justice for sure. I mean, it's a super personal album. It sounded like he's kind of self-reflecting on his life almost throughout the album. So with just having his face on there with the dark cover and his real name, Jonathan, that just it just pushed the emotion onto you, I feel. My conclusion of this album is that it was pretty good. The first half of the album is definitely my favorite. I think it kind of lacked in the second half. But I only listened to it a few times. I haven't gone back to it. But I just know that that intro track was so capturing. Like it really did feel like a movie soundtrack. And I love that in music. So I'm gonna put up some highlights that I have from this album, and I hope you take some of them. Next up, I have Amine, 13 Months of Sunshine. Now, this album, it's bop after bop. I think anyone would like this album due to all the songs being super upbeat and creative. You could feel the passion in his work, I feel. Like, I think he labeled it on his Instagram as his baby. So, he loved making this album, and I think you can feel it all throughout it. And it just definitely meant a lot to him. Also, if you're truly like listening to the album, this sounds dumb, but hear me out. If you're listening and you don't just have it on in the background, it seems like he's going through it and he's kind of understanding his emotions with it, similar to the Young Lean album with being self reflecting. It's kind of like that. And it seems like a lot of artists did that this month. So I don't know, but that's just how I felt about it. And I think it's kind of hidden on these upbeat songs because the beats are great, but if you really break down the lyrics and you look at them and you listen to them, you hear them, then you'll see what I'm talking about. It's definitely a super upbeat and fun album, and like I said, great for summer. There's not a song that I don't like, so I'm gonna put up my suggestions now, but you can really pick from any of them because they're all my favorite. Even with it being such an upbeat album, it does slow down with songs like I Think It's You, History, and Doing the Best I Can. So I think that makes it a complete album, and like I said, you can really hear his passion in it and how much he cares for this album. So it's definitely a huge suggestion, this one. It's my favorite one of the month. Next up, I'm moving on to Pink Pantheress Fancy That. Now, this was a very fast and fun album. It's very house music esque, and I'm also not an active Pink Pantheress listener. I'm kind of a casual when it comes to it. And quite honestly, I can't listen to it all the time because I can't relate to what it's about. I mean, most of the songs, it seems like it's about her loving boys, and I do not. So, I can't necessarily relate to it, but I think it was good overall. The production was great on it, the beats were amazing, and it was definitely her kind of sound. Best way I can explain it is listening to Pink Pantheress's music feels like playing a racing video game, especially in this album. I don't know about other albums, but that's just kind of how I feel. It's always fast paced and it just feels like I'm in a racing video game. Overall, my favorite song was "Nice to Know You." I think it's the most easily digestible song, especially for casuals. So that's my suggestion for this one. Next up, I have a JPEG Mafia EP that came out with the artist Flume. It's called "We Live in a Society." I wasn't a fan of this one. It's only 4 tracks long, but personally, I like when JPEG raps. And he doesn't much on this album, which was kind of disappointing, but it's a whole different sound. And, it definitely has that glitchy kind of beats throughout it, if you know what I mean. I mean, that's all throughout JPEG's music, which I like, but I can't listen to it all the time because it gives me a headache. But yeah, I just like when he raps, and he didn't do that much on this album. But I think track one was funny, in the way that they're communicating back and forth, like what is this beat, So I think that's funny. I can't forget that this isn't just JPEG Mafia on it, so I'm not going to grade it too harshly. All I'm going to say is I'm just not going to return to this one. Next up, Kali Uchis Sincerely. This is my first time listening to a Kali Uchis album, not going to lie. And her voice is beautiful. I've always known that, but I've only really listened to her on features and stuff like that. I think the transitions on all the songs were pretty sweet. They flowed so nice, and this album's mostly slower songs, I'd say. Good songs for the bedroom, if you will. And I also think that these would be good songs to put on when you're just high and chilling. I'm not gonna lie. That's perfect album for that. The production is beautiful all throughout it, and I'm gonna put up some suggestions I have now. This type of album is an album that I think is for the head, and this is where I'm gonna introduce my theory of music for the head versus music for the ears. And basically, in short, I'm gonna make a whole video about that theory. Basically, in short, music for the head is listening to songs deeply or with emotion, like you're really putting your emotion into it and feeling the emotion within it. And music for the ear is just music that sounds good. You know what I mean? That the head bopping beats and you know what I mean? Stuff that's not too deep. So I'll go more into that on another video. But I think this album by Kali Uchis is definitely more for the head, where you got to sit down and listen to it and really get in the vibe. Next on the list is Key Glock Glockavelli. This album was pretty good. He has a consistent flow all throughout it, and I think he makes super good car music, if that makes sense. I mean, it's exactly what I said. Like, put it on in the car, and it's got the bass bumping, and it's really good for car music. I think the songs would be better kind of on their own rather than as a collective album, if that makes sense. With an album with 20 plus songs or almost 20 songs, I feel like there has to be more of a variety to make it digestible. I keep using that word, but it's just that's how I feel about it. But overall, I think he used some great samples on this album, and there's great beats and everything. Like I said, he has a consistent flow. So it was a good album. I'll just put up a couple suggestions now. Next, I have Snoop Dogg, Is It a Crime? I love the beats all over this album. It's very West Coast sounding. And I will say, I kind of saw further down the list the song Spot with Pharrell. And I don't know if you know, but I'm a big Pharrell Williams fan. So I was kind of looking forward to this song the entire time, just waiting to get to it. And when I did, I was kind of disappointed, but that's because I had such high expectations. But Pharrell wasn't even really on it that much. And there were a lot of dog puns on it, which was funny. But overall, good album, great beats and everything. I'll put up my highlights on it now. And I think it sounded like Snoop really enjoyed making this album. He wasn't looking to make a classic album or anything like that. It's just plain old album from Snoop Dogg. So next, I have the Andre 3000 EP 7 piano sketches. And listen, I'm a huge fan of Andre 3000. He's one of my favorite rappers ever. I like Outkast. I mean, look at this shirt. But this wasn't a good album, or EP. It's only piano. There's no vocals. But he said it himself that he was really just messing around on this album. He didn't even have the intent of putting it out at first. He made it a while back, so it's just kind of him messing around, having fun, doing whatever, and I respect that. I mean, go you, like as he should. But I wouldn't say it's good because it's just kind of him mashing keys and trying whatever. He doesn't play piano. So if someone were to listen to Andre 3000's music separately, I definitely suggest New Blue Sun over anything. Over this one, I'd say, because there's only really those two out. But yeah, I'm gonna put up, if I haven't already, I'm gonna put up the caption on Andre's Instagram talking about it, because like I said, he said himself he didn't have the intent of putting it out. And yeah, this is where things start to get interesting. The artist Suave released the album Billy 2. It's a sequel to his EP from last year called Billy. And that first one is completely different than Billy 2. First one's slower, more chill. This one, he brings the hype, if you will. It's short and sweet. There's only 10 songs. It's 22 minutes long. So you need to look into it. I'm begging you to, because Suave is criminally underrated. He's an Atlanta rapper, and he knows how to rap. You know, he's a great rapper. But my thing with him is that his choruses aren't that catching, and I think that's what a lot of people find. But there's just there's hits and misses on this album, really. I love how he raps though. His flow is amazing, and he talks about real stuff that's actively happening in his life and now how he feels. I keep mentioning that, but I love that in music. And for the misses on the album, like I said, it's more of a chorus thing for me. And a big example of that would be the song Dun Dun on this album. Me personally, I did not like the chorus on it at all. And you should check it out and see what I'm talking about. Also, on a song Off the Leash, his flow is good, raps are great, beat is hard, but the chorus just is not it, in my opinion. Like, it'd be such a better song if he had a different chorus, but it's still one of my suggestions. It's a really good song. He also had this tagline that was playing all throughout the album that you'll hear. It's real trap shit, and it just keeps repeating a bunch, and it's very obnoxious. I think it's funny though. This might make some people turned off from this album, but I think it's funny. It's just a little overplayed and loud, honestly. I do love the layout of the track list. I think it's ordered perfectly, and how the songs transition into each other is so dope to me. They kind of give a sneak peek for some of them. They kind of give a sneak peek of what the next beat is going to be, and it's just so cool. Like the song Bishop going into Elroy, I'm pretty sure those were the two that I'm thinking of. You kind of get a sneak peek of the beat at the end of Bishop, and then it goes into that, and it's just so dope to me. During this album, I think he really sounds like himself. But he also reminds me of Baby Keem sometimes, which is dope. And maybe that's why I like him, because I love Keem so much. But I don't know. I think he really sounds like him. And this is a great album. I definitely would suggest it. And take some of these songs and put them in your playlist. The main one I'd suggest is Bishop. And then Dim Girls was pretty fun. You might have heard that one already. He released it as a single. But this album is definitely my most played of this month. I mean, it's so short, so it's easy to go through a bunch. So yeah. Next up, I got another artist that is criminally underrated. His name is Overcast, and the album While the Iron is Hot. This is a great album to listen to start off with if you've never heard of Overcast. He's a super good rapper, and a song I suggest if you really have never heard a song from him is I'm On from this album. Perfect song to describe his sound and music, the beat selection too. But yeah, I first heard of Overcast a couple years back with the song Vent. It's a big suggestion. Also, if you've never heard of him, go listen to this song. And then I also remember seeing him pop up on Redville's album Learn to Swim on the song, I think it was Automatic. So that's another suggestion. So I'll throw up some of these suggestions that I think you should get into to understand who Overcast is before hopping into this album. but I just don't understand how he's still unheard of because he's so good. And I think you guys need to run up his streams, honestly. I also wanted to mention that you can hear that real trap shit tagline that was on Suave's album. You can hear that like 5 seconds into the song I'm On, just kind of briefly. And I think that's hilarious that it's used again in an album this month. I don't know if they did it together or what. I don't even know whose tagline that is. Like what producer uses that, but I think it's super funny. Also, one small thing before I move on, I thought the album cover was super dope. So if you like the album cover, you'll like these songs. Next up, this is my first listen of this artist. His name is John Michael, and this album is called Ego Trip. Thank you, Scott, for sending me this one. It was a great find, and my overall opinion on this album is the energy was off the charts on this album. I mean, he sounds like he's on top of the world. He sounds like he finally made it, even though I think it's his first album. But it's beautiful. Honestly, I'll put up some suggestions so you can see what I'm talking about. You can't go wrong with them, really. That just shows the vibe of the entire album all the way through. And it's only 37 minutes long, so check it out. See if it's for you. Next up, I have Leon Thomas Mutt Deluxe. It's called Heal. And this is my first time hearing this album. Not gonna lie, I've heard a couple songs from Leon Thomas. He's a great singer, and he is Andre from Victorious. If you didn't know that, I don't think he wants to be known as that necessarily. He probably wants to be known as Leon Thomas, but that's how you might know him if you watched the show Victorious when you were little. Anyways, this album was amazing. It's super chill. Mostly, it's R&B pretty much. And I'll throw up my suggestions now. These songs aren't the only ones you should check out. Honestly, you should check out the whole album. He had great features. The songs with the features too. Those are also some good suggestions. I mean, he had Freddie Gibbs on there. He had Masego. He had Wale, Chris Brown, Big Sean twice, and Kalani. That's not even all of them. So he had great features on here, and it's a super good album. The deluxe was really good too. To start it off with Heal, I think that was great. That song was super good. And you may recognize the song Mutt. It's pretty popular. I think it is his most popular one, but it's super good. It's probably my favorite. One more thing that I love about this album that I should have mentioned sooner is the intro track, How Fast, feels like an introduction to a movie. And I love that. I mean, just like on the Young Lean album that I was talking about earlier, that is one of my favorite things. It sounds like a movie. And I can't say any more than I love that. And I wish artists did that all the time. It really makes an album feel complete. And that's one of my things that I feel makes an album perfect. I wouldn't call this a perfect album, but that's just one of the things. Lastly, saving the worst for last, I have Kanye on Donda 2. Now, this album, I mean, it's under the alias of Donda. It's not even under his actual name because he probably doesn't want to ruin his discography any more than he does or already has. But Donda 2, it was made in 2021 and he refused to release it on streaming platforms, but he finally did. And I finally listened to it for the first time in full. And what I can say about it is not good at all. This is not what you'd expect if I told you 5, 10 years ago that this is Kanye West. This is Kanye West making this album. Is not what you'd expect at all. It's biggest downfall ever. It's just not quality music at all. It's honestly super sad to see this downfall of him. This might be the longest part of the video because I'm going to go on a rant here. I wrote down a lot in my notes about it, so I have a lot to say. Similar to his recent albums, the best part of this album were the beats because Kanye's a great producer. He makes some great beats. That's my favorite part about his music. But the lyrics, they didn't mean shit. He just says shit. Like it doesn't mean anything. His rapping ability has never been impressive to me because he kind of just says anything. Like he'll just say whatever and it doesn't even go together. And a lot of times doesn't even make sense, but he makes it rhyme sometimes and that's okay. I mean, I know artists do that and maybe I'm breaking it down too harshly or too much, but I just don't think he's ever been a great rapper per se. But his lyrics just don't mean anything. Like see the song Mr. Miyagi. Go listen to that song and tell me what it's about. It's so stupid and pointless. With me saying that he just says stuff, that being said, you can say that outside of music too for Kanye West. He just says stuff. He will say stuff and people continue to give it attention, and all you can do is ignore it. That's all you have to do because he thrives off of attention. So it it angers me, quite honestly, when he opens his mouth in the public. I'm not going to go too deep into that though. I'm not going to bash him a ton. So now I'm going to talk about things that I liked about this album. What I've loved about Kanye West's albums is that he is so good at making a whole world around the album, if that makes sense. And I don't know if I can fully credit him or if it's his team or other producers or what, but most of his albums, if you look through his discography, it's got the same type of sound, if that makes sense. Like the Vultures albums weren't good, but I give him flowers for those because it does keep the same type of sound throughout it. If that I don't know how else to explain that. But it's the same type of beats and selection of music throughout it, which is nice because it just keeps a whole flow throughout the album. I really went in depth on this review of this album. So I wrote down some songs and what I didn't like about them or what I did like about them. So I'm gonna go through that now. The song "Keep the Flowers." The beat is super unique. I just wish there was some sort of beat drop where he just lets it ride out and then he goes in on a verse and raps his ass off. But he doesn't. Instead, it just loops. So it's not terrible. I just wish it was different. Same with the song Security. The beat is so tough, but he just doesn't go anywhere with it. It's just that's it. It goes nowhere. His verses were trash and didn't mean anything again, and it just could have been so much better. I'll put up a couple highlights. Too Easy is a highlight. It's super repetitive, but if you like the chorus, then you'll like the song. I also always like the song True Love. I don't know if I put it on here or not, but I'm a fan of X, so I like his vocals for sure. And I'm also sad he didn't get the song Selfish cleared because that would have been my favorite one on here. Selfish was another song with X on it. The song Maintenance was great. It's a short 1 minute song, and I liked his verse on it actually. And We Did It was another highlight, but the features carry on it. I mean, I'm a big Keem fan, so they had Keem and Migos on it. Spoiler alert. And that was another thing. Is a star-studded feature list, so that was another thing that carried the album. The features and the beats, not Kanye, but the features and the beats carried it. There's hidden features, so I love that honestly. And my favorite ones were probably Keem on We Did It and Jack Harlow on Louis Bags. Overall, this album didn't mean anything. It was all just for the hype. I mean, look at Donda 1. It was made for his mom. It had that religious kind of feel to it. It meant something. That should have been his retirement album, but it wasn't. And he continued and he made this album that's just all for the hype. And also, I think he's a legend in hip hop. So I feel like I'm allowed to criticize him this hard, but I'm literally sweating because I got kind of mad ranting about him. So yeah, that does it for my monthly review of May. All these albums were pretty good. There weren't too many misses, and like I said, Amine's album was definitely my favorite. I'll be bumping it all summer. Honestly, for the rest of the year, it's a contender for album of the year so far. And Suave, I definitely listened to Billy too, the most out of all of them, but it was easier to do that because it was short. So check him out. Leave a comment. Let me know what you liked and let me know if I missed anything. Peace.